AI is draining our water. Data centers are being built in regions facing severe droughts, extracting water from communities that don't have enough. Millions of liters are evaporating every day. At least, that's what the headlines say. But are those claims actually true, and how harmful is it really? Let's break it down. Google, Meta, and Microsoft report using billions of liters from local water sources annually. But there's a bit of an information fog because none of them will say how much of that water is specifically for AI. Sam Altman claims a single ChatGPT prompt uses 1/15 of a teaspoon of water. But researchers who measured it independently, they say 500 milliliters per 10 to 50 queries, a water bottle for a dozen questions. When the BBC pressed OpenAI for their methodology, OpenAI declined to comment. But why does AI need water? AI chips run trillions of calculations per second, generating heat that would destroy the hardware in minutes. Traditional air cooling can't keep up. The popular solution, liquid cooling. Water-cooled systems that end with evaporation. And it has to be clean, drinking quality water. Salt corrodes pipes, and bacteria clog systems. In most AI data centers, up to 80% of water evaporates. It doesn't get recycled back to the source, it enters the atmosphere and eventually rains down somewhere, but not necessarily anywhere near where it was extracted. The remaining 20% gets discharged back to the river or lake, but several degrees warmer. That temperature difference matters. Warmer water holds less dissolved oxygen. A few degrees can collapse an entire river ecosystem. Many countries classify this as thermal pollution. So the water doesn't just flow through and return. Most of it disappears from the local water system permanently, and what comes back can potentially damage the environment. Now we can ask, does the amount of water used make it a problem? And the answer is, it depends entirely on where you build. If you build a water-cooled data center in Iceland, abundant water, constant replenishment from rainfall and snowmelt, the impact is negligible. The local water system can absorb it. But build in Arizona, a desert state already depleting groundwater, you're accelerating land subsidence while consuming water that took centuries to accumulate underground. A single data center can use as much water as thousands of households in that same community. In Uruguay, during severe drought, they were planning to build a data center which would consume millions of liters of water annually. Water that could have gone to residents who were rationing. But instead would power AI services for users thousands of miles away. The plans were eventually modified, but only after a public outcry forced a redesign. So is AI the environmental villain headlines make it out to be? In dry regions, the concern is valid. But we need perspective. When you look at the numbers, data centers fall within range of standard heavy industry. A single paper mill, for example, consumes a nearly identical volume of water. And some of the major AI companies pledge to be water positive by 2030. The reality is, data centers aren't uniquely thirsty. They've just become the most visible target in a world running out of resources. So we've established that water use has legitimate issues in certain locations. But we're overlooking the bigger issue. Water is a problem in specific locations. Power consumption is a problem everywhere. The International Energy Agency projects AI data center electricity demand will increase 400% by 2030, equivalent to the entire United Kingdom's yearly consumption. That power has to come from somewhere. Coal or gas? Massive carbon emissions when we're supposed to be reducing them. Nuclear and renewables? Building that capacity takes years we may not have. That will hit electrical grids, carbon budgets, and utility bills globally. Water is a local crisis. Energy is a global one. We've been told our whole lives to turn off the tap. And when we look at industrial water use, it feels meaningless. And maybe that's legitimate. But compared to the power problem, water may not be as big as it seems. So is AI's water usage a problem? Yes, if you're building in water-stressed regions without considering local factors. If you're extracting groundwater that won't replenish. If you're returning thermal pollution to rivers. But No, if you're building water-abundant areas with proper discharge regulations and renewable energy sources. Companies won't tell us the numbers. Regulators are moving slower than construction. And while we debate water, the power grid is about to face a strain 4 times larger. We're asking the wrong questions because we don't have the information to ask the right ones. Because if we keep looking for the crisis in our taps, we'll never see the moment the lights finally go out.